Heather, can you hear us okay?
She said yes, but Mike is muted.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
We're good, Julie? Good. Call the workshop to the order. The first item on the agenda is activities indicator report from Dale Christie.
Hi, thank you. With us today, we also have, I'm Dale Christie, Grand Rapids Area Schools Activities Director, and with us we have Heather Lovedahl, who is the Big Fork Activities Director. First off, just as a heads up, this presentation, the data that I'm going to show you is not from this school year, it's from the 24-25 school year. So we believe we're connected to the district mission. That Heather and I believe that activities are an integral part to the school programming and not just an extra outside of the day. That are what we do. We're able to do a lot of stuff that either can't be done in the classroom or maybe can be done better under a team situation. We believe in growth and development and preparing our students for life. So these are the number of students both in Grand Rapids and Big Fork that are participate in activities in the 24-25 school year. These are duplicated numbers, so we don't have a lot, but we do have a few 3-sport athletes, certainly some 2-sport athletes. But there's 782 high school opportunities and fine arts 516. That would include marching band, would include choir, would include our spring musical, our fall play, our speech program. 414 at the middle school level for that school year. That's an increase both at the high school and middle school. And then for Big Fork, you see there's 81 student opportunities, which is down for a few reasons that Heather and I will go into. So 1,793 is the total number of students if you count all 3 seasons that participate. These are the programs that are offered. The G on the left-hand side means boys and girls in each of those sports. Same with basketball and cross country and golf and track and field up in Big Fork. We do co-op and speech with Big Fork.
Jill, can you go back a slide?
Yeah.
So is volleyball starting this year for boys, or was that last year?
Volleyball is now a state high school league sanctioned sport. We do not offer in Grand Rapids as part of our activities department. They can participate at a club level.
There's a club
which is what Bemidji and I think Proctor Hermantown and maybe some others do. Okay. I have not seen ours using our gyms, so I don't know if they're still going, but it is an option for them. Okay. Thanks. This picture's been around a while, but I always like to show it. Shows the cooperation between Big Fork and Grand Rapids. These are some of our Grand Rapids teams that went to state last year. The track team on the left, or at least some of the track team, baseball team. One on the left is looks like swimming and wrestling together, and one on the right is cross country running. We had 11 teams last school year that went to state between winter, spring, and fall, winter, and spring. Had to throw a couple pictures of the board members on here. And also the fine arts. We have our marching band. The picture on the bottom left is our fall play last year. We can't play without our officials and our game workers, and these are some of the best. A lot of our swim officials, or a lot of our officials overall, are quality officials who actually are picked to officiate at the state level. All four of these gentlemen officiates state swimming, four that we kind of rely on around here. On the right, some of you know Lenny Brown. Others you may not. Lenny's kind of he's being inducted into our Sports Hall of Fame this fall. Lenny, the ring he's showing is something that the state high school league gave him, and he attended an event at a Vikings game to honor him and a couple other people. I believe that's 60 years of officiating. He hasn't for a few years now, but he still runs our softball games, announces, does our volleyball and basketball scorekeeping.
He's also been the treasurer of the band.
Yes, he is. Yep. Just wanted to show that our kids do good things, not just competing, but off the ice, off the courts. Picture on the right is a picture from not this fall, but the fall before at Victory Day, a program that our football team runs with community residents. And the one on the left is some of our hockey team from that year at an event at the Friendship Club group that meets on a monthly basis. So we have, in Grand Rapids, we have 72 teams that, we have 72 teams between the middle school and high school that we schedule for, get game workers, officials, arrange busing, et cetera, and then Big Fork also has 10 teams that Heather does the same for. So that's teams in athletic sense, but we also, we have band, choir, speech, drama, and all those kind of things. FFA, BPA, student council, prom, all those type of things as well. So down here we have 40 head coaches between the middle school and high school, and over 100 assistant coaches. Big Fork has 10 head coaches, 10 assistant coaches, and a lot of game workers who've been there for a very long time, as we do down in Grand Rapids. And Heather, look, jump in anytime that you want here.
Okay.
And then numerous activity and club advisors and game workers. So the high school, we follow the high school league's beliefs and curriculum. We believe we're an extension of the classroom. I'm not going to read it all off to you, but so the goal of our athletic programs are to win, and this is our team that year, softball team that advanced to the section championship. And our teams have been very competitive. Winning is important to us. Like I said, we have 11 teams that went to state or individuals from those teams. So it's our goal, but it's not our purpose. Here's the purpose: trying to connect kids to caring adults, providing them opportunities to grow in teamwork and grit and perseverance, all those kind of things. And again, teaching and learning the skills that are, and I know it's changed, but it used to be the world's best workforce, Chamber of Commerce goals, or all the kind of things that we do in our activities programs. Our coaches, we don't just hire them and turn them loose. There are a lot of steps that they have to jump through. First off, they either have to have a college coaching certificate, which are pretty few and far between nowadays. I have one, but not many people younger than me do. So they have to get approved by they have to go through a course through the high school league that involves extensive amount of hours and money that they pay for the classes. In addition, all of those coaches, head coaches and assistants, have to complete a number of modules. Every year they have to do a general high school league rules and sports specific rules for their sport. And then every 3 years they have to complete a number of modules on different things like the purpose of high school athletics, concussion protocols, all those kind of things. They all have a philosophy, mission, and vision statement on file with myself and the high school league. They're expected to communicate with parents. They have emergency action plans for all our activities and all our venues, whether it be the school gym or whether it's football field, soccer field, swimming pool, tennis court, cross-country running, golf, the whole works. I observe them both in practice and games. Every 3 years, there's a survey, and every 3 years, there's a professional development plan. So year one of the cycle is survey. Year two is creating goals based upon those surveys and my observations. And then year three is an evaluation of coaches. Here's information you might be interested in. We've presented this in the past and added on to it now. These are the revenue and expenditures by year. See that, like everything else, expenditures keep going up. There's cost of inflation and gas, and cost of officials, etc. But revenues have been steadily growing too. Obviously, in the far left, that was COVID time, so those numbers are smaller in both areas. Breaking down those incomes, fees, admission fees, so fees that participants pay, fees that are generated by admission, donations from booster clubs, etc., and then other revenues. Some of those are things like entry fees. Somebody comes to our wrestling meet or track meet that they pay to get into it.
Does this include advertising income as well?
Under the, I believe under the yellow it would. Yep, that would go into what we call our Thunderhawk account. Expenditures, same type of thing. We have salaries and benefits are obviously the most. You can see that they've held pretty steady. Even though there's percentage increases, we've also cut a few activities, or at least the coaches for those activities, the transportation, entry fees, and then supplies and capital. Here's the activity receipts. I think I just went backwards. Here's the salary breakdown, overhead, which would be Heather and I and Gigi and others, coaches, officials and game staff, and then substitute teachers for when our coaches are out of the building for games. I think this one's an interesting one. The general fund subsidy, you see that certainly was greater during COVID and right after. We've gradually been making that trend down the direction you guys would like to see it. And I think I'd also add that, if I have that here, there's a number of comparable schools that we look at. I think you guys look at it for different things as well. We're the lowest of those comparable schools. I think there's like 18 of them or so that we compare ourselves to.
Real quick, what would you say is the responsibility of not each individual sport, but overall, what would you say would be the responsibility financially for just sports in general to have to pay for each booster club? There's a budget that everybody has to, adhere to. What is it that the district has now set aside? Like, is there a one whole total that the district has set aside for sports in general that then has to get broken down by each boosters club? I'm sorry, I'm trying to.
Yeah, so the difference between, I thought we had a graph for that too, but maybe not. The gap between the blue and the orange or red or whatever color that is what the district pays, or what the district is contributing.
Yes, and then so what would be the responsibility that is then put over to the booster clubs themselves?
Quite a bit,
Yes.
as you well know.
Yes.
And it depends on the sport. Certain sports have healthier booster clubs that we kind of lean on them to do a lot for us. Baseball, hockey.
Would you say that those, like football and hockey, I'll just ask that of them, would you say that those two sports are pretty much responsible, not fully obviously, but that they take responsibility for paying most of the expenditures, I guess, for all of the sports across the district, if that makes sense. I'm asking that question.
Not the boosters themselves. So some of it is the cost of the sport. Boosters will pick up. We pay a lot for football helmets. Boosters pay a lot to
Yeah.
the requirement that we have.
Yep.
Some boosters spend more. That's their choice to do it, things that we wouldn't pay for.
Yep.
So for example, we don't pay for any charter buses. People see teams on charter buses. We only pay the portion of that would cost for a school bus to drive. So the booster clubs pay the difference. Try to go back to your original question here.
You kind of answered it. I didn't really know how to ask that question. It didn't make sense
So
how I was asking it.
So certain sports, hockey and football are the only sports that actually make money and help pay for the others. Arguably help pay for the others.
Yeah.
Hockey makes the most, but then there's also the cost of renting the arena as well. We keep track of a cost per sport and then cost per participant. We have those numbers available. And some cost more than others. Some really don't cost us much of anything. I think we looked recently that our middle school numbers are enough, and the fact that we raised the fees to the same as the high school, they actually pretty much break even.
Okay.
Middle school sports or close to it. Wrestling and speech are our most expensive sports per participant. Others, golf are probably our cheapest. Kind of just depends. But so what the boosters put into it sometimes is stuff that's needed, and sometimes is stuff that they choose to pay for that we would never do even if we.
Yeah, I do know this. Yes. Yeah. That makes sense. So I was just curious as to. I mean, I only know swimming. That's the only sport that I know as far as what money is that they pay for. But so I was just wondering if.
So some of it's in equipment and capital expenses where you'll see the boosters put money into swimming. We rely on them being. There's a lot of equipment that you wouldn't think swimming's pretty other than the pool.
Yeah.
The cost of the pool, you would think it's one of the cheaper sports, but there's a lot of equipment that needs upgrading.
I guess that's part of the question too, because yes, the district pays for the pool, the district pays for the fields, the district pays for the arena, and then what, if any, is there ever a fee that goes towards a team that has to pay for any of that, facility fees? Or would there ever be a time where we would have to pay for facility fees as a boosters club? Portion of the facility fees.
To this point, I think it's fair to say the school has picked up those type of costs. It's those additional things and things like equipment. Hockey and football, for example, pick up most of their equipment costs other than helmets.
Yeah.
Hockey picks up the helmets too. Baseball, we supply a percentage of the baseballs that are used during the year, but booster club has to pick up the majority of it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So even things that are basic that you need, those groups pick that up. So I don't know if I'm answering your question.
You are. Yeah. It makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody else here, but it makes sense to me. I understand what I asked, so it makes sense what you're giving me. Yes. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Heather, anything you would like to add here?
We're really different up here. A lot the same in a lot of ways of the way, Dale and I work with our coaches, but, we have a booster club, and it has 5 people for all of our sports. And so they have really focused on our youth activities up here to try to get our numbers up. And so when you talk about, other funding and things like that, it's not really an option for us here. Our coaches are fundraising. I just met with a coach and talked about his summer plan. And a lot of it is fundraising just for the needs that he wants the kids to be able to have. And so, I wish we had a great big booster club. It'd be wonderful, but it's just a different scenario up here for us. So, regarding booster club, that's what I have.
Thank you. So, there's a slide about indicators of success, and I think most of you know those things, better GPAs and attendance records and classroom behavior, et cetera. Not that it's all perfect, but certainly those percentages are higher. Because we have a weighted grading system, the average high school grade is 3.0, but that's because we have a weighted grading system. But for sports, our fall sports are at 3.275, winter 3.259, spring 3.385. So all of those are above what the aggregate of the school population of the high school is doing.
Part-time deal.
Yeah, a fall 3.275, winter 3.259, and spring 3.385.
What is the required GPA in order to participate?
Generally 2.0, and I want to say that generally because students who are in IEPs are making progress, or many of them are on a plan. They have to show that they are. In fact, we just sat one out all of last week because if they're on that bubble, not making it, and are, we're not going to let them go to school if they're not caught up. So.
And in Big Fork, we have an academic policy where if anyone is failing a class, they may not participate at all until that grade is above failing again. So we have a team that sits down and looks at that. And then at the end of the quarter, if they're failing anything, they have 2 weeks to sit out to kind of refocus and get on the right track so that we don't have any kids failing in Big Fork that are involved in sports.
Are you able to look back right? It's not. Oh, there we go. So these were the indicators of success that I was mentioning. And there's also challenges that we have. And as long as Heather, you want to keep going here, we have Big Forks up next. Some of the challenges you're facing up there.
Yeah, declining involvement from students. And this rolls right into the second one. We have lost a lot of kids to online school. And for whatever reason, even when our kids are going to PSEO, it's like I don't know if it's the travel time or what it is, but we see a huge decline in activity participation when they make that choice. And so it's really been on trend the last few years for us. And we've had really low numbers, especially like with our girls basketball team. We have a new coach hired. I'm really excited about for next year. So I'm hoping that might help a little bit, but that's been a big thing with our female athletes. And the other part is it's really hard to find coaches. And I just talked about this with my coach a few minutes ago, is everyone's wearing so many hats. We are a small community and everyone gives a lot. And we're just always looking for people who are willing to be able to give the kind of time that it takes to do a really great job coaching. Many of our coaches are not coming from within the walls of the school. They're coming from the community. And so, they're loggers and carpenters and hospital employees. And I'm just really thankful for partnerships with employers that will allow them to leave, businesses early in the day to come and coach. And so just trying to broaden our scope of volunteers and helpers and people who want to be involved. And I think this is my 6th year as AD, and I think that amount of people or pool of people has really grown. And that's one thing we're really proud of. we have a lot of people who are really invested in the kids. And so, but that's been a definite struggle for us.
Yeah, I'd agree. Trying, the pool of people who are available at 3:30, for practices and get off work, and then can get off work for either whole days or half days here and there to attend out of town events.
Yeah.
That limits the pool of people that are available to you.
Same thing, game workers. I feel like we're bringing treats and all kinds of things to try to lure people in here to do the clock, all of the different jobs that need to be filled. And so a lot of relationship building and trying to keep a fun atmosphere on game nights and things like that, so that people come and want to be here with us. Sorry, Dale, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that's fine. We have the same issue that we're lucky we've had some longtime game workers, but a lot of those are starting to age out. And yeah, we to be honest, we have the lowest stipend for any school up in this area for our game workers. But most of them do it not for the pay; they do it for the socialization, to help the school out, etc. Officials are, imagine the same thing with Heather, but they're aging and retiring. It's getting more and more difficult to find people, especially for lower level games. Middle school softball, middle school football. Really difficult to find people. The people that I've had for those are now, the need is so great at the JV and varsity level that I have nobody left for the middle school level. So
Are they all certified at that level, or?
at the varsity level, they have to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but are you able to at junior high like that, or probably not?
No. Some of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them are, but they don't have to be.
Yeah.
We try to make sure we're not just throwing anybody out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not necessarily certified officials. And some sports are, we have over 700 different people that we use for officials. That's how big of a pool that we need. Also, officials are increasing. It used to be inflationary, a couple bucks a year or whatever it is, but now it's more exponential than that. And they certainly deserve it. That's not the question.
How about, how is mileage and things like that? I mean, that's probably increasing quite a bit too.
It is.
The federal rates have changed quite a bit, right, for compensation.
And we've had a $90 limit on mileage, but now you don't have to come too far away to be more than that now. So it might be something we have to look at if we can't find people.
Is that still in effect now?
Yeah. That's been that for quite a while. Gas has gone up quite a bit since that number was put in place. We typically only pay for one official to get mileage, and then if two are coming from different directions, they have to split that up. But there are certain sports where their associations require cost, for example, we have to pay everybody. All three officials we have to pay mileage to. Game workers, which we mentioned, transportation. Our transportation department is just great to work with. Kristen just bends over backwards to try to help us, but they are, as you probably know, short-handed themselves and don't always have people they're trying to find people for the regular routes, let alone after school. So we're having to pay her out quite a bit. Shoebot's the company that we use the most. And then they've been very helpful as well. But every once in a while, we can't find transportation. We've canceled a few games. So we can't find whether local or charter companies to drive us. And we're not unique in that. Other schools, Bemidji just had to cancel a couple games with us because they can't find anybody. And Duluth runs into those. Well, everybody does. Cloquet's even, they have a charter bus company in their town. So, in conclusion, that's who we believe we are. Are there any? There was also a board narrative that I'm not reading off, but I sent Are there any questions?
Got a couple. If you were to mention we have some three events, let's say, participants, what percentage do you think of that is? Because the numbers you were doing were opportunities, right? They
Yeah.
weren't necessarily, you know, so if you had someone participating in three, they'd be on there three times, right? Or they'd be counted three times in those numbers.
I don't know the number, but I can tell you for 3 sports, there were 6 or 7 seniors that fell into that category.
Okay.
It's probably about that per grade level, maybe a little bit
Okay.
more. Yeah, I don't have the number. I don't have the individual numbers on here. Tip of my tongue. And there's a number that do 2 or 3, but there's a lot of single sport athletes.
Okay, so if you were to try to guess how many were single, percentage wise, would you say that's 80% maybe or something? Just, and I'm not looking
Yeah.
for a hard number. I'm just kind of curious.
Probably closer to 60%. maybe.
60. Okay, so
I'm really
yeah.
just guessing there. But
no, well,
Yeah.
you're going to guess a lot better than I am. So I'm not. Okay. I guess one other question. You know, so and this is probably directed to Heather. You know, we had went to a coach model on the girls last year. I know with Greg retiring there, I think that was kind of part of it, right? And the recent hire we did, we kept it as a co-coach. Is there a vision for that to go to just or is it why did we stay there? I guess is kind of important, right?
Thank you for asking. Kaya Otero, who is was kind of going to be the successor for Greg, just had a baby. And last week, matter of fact, a little girl named Veda. And she wasn't sure that she wanted to see how motherhood went for her. And so Annalise Schmitz, who took on the position, is under the understanding if Kaya does not want to do that, she is willing to step up and be the head coach. They both are incredible. I think that, you know, it would be nice to just have one head coach and have a JV coach. But they both, I can see them working so well together and creating a lot of energy and getting that program back on track. The kids are very, very excited about both of them. So I'm hoping Kaya will stay and rejoin us. And so then what they do is they coach, you know, JV and varsity, both coaches do, or they kind of tag team that gym. So it's worked out really well so far. Greg really mentored Kaya this year a lot. She learned a lot from Greg, and I think, well, I know he feels really good about making that decision.
Okay. No, that helps. I mean, and that makes sense, I guess, right?
Mhm. Yep.
I can understand that concern about commitment at that point.
Right.
Heather, I just wanted to say really quickly, last week, Matt, Ashley, and I were able to come up to the senior night, and I just wanted to commend you and the whole team for putting on. I mean, this is an activity as well. It was pretty incredible to watch. The amount of support those kids got from scholarships was unbelievable, and the community coming in to celebrate it was pretty special to watch. So thank you for all the work that you and the team did up there.
Thank you for saying that. You know, when you sit up there like that, I can't tell you how many times I was choked up just with watching those kids since they were little and seeing them. It's incredible. And we have a fair amount of kids who have a pretty tough home life. And a lot of those kids got a lot of money that night. And it was really rewarding.
Right. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dale or Heather?
Sure. Dale, thank you. Very illuminating report. One of the things in my screening that I always think about is how are our students doing academically? And you've provided some numbers. It feels to me like the numbers are a little softer than it has been in the past. I don't know if that's true or not. Is there anything that you do from your position to bump academics with our students, with our athletes?
I guess the main 2 things is we do grade checks to make sure kids are on track. And we have an attendance policy that requires kids to be at school if they're going to practice or especially if they're going to play a game. And we're very strict on that. It's doctor's note or school related activity, and we include driver's training, for example. But just having a note from mom doesn't count. And the principal and myself are able to give exceptions if we feel that there's something really legitimate. But I would say those are the two main things that we do.
Well, I do review that on a regular basis, and I thank you for that attention to that detail.
Dale, you mentioned that you have the cost per participant and the cost per sport. Is that something that you can send to the board?
I could. I don't know that I'm sure I don't have them for this year, but I would have them for past years.
Whatever the last year that you have.
Yeah, and I know that when we've looked at budget cuts, that's something that Superintendent Gross and I have taken a look at.
Maybe it's good to understand. Any other questions for you? Thank you, Heather and Dale.
Well, thank
Thank
you. We appreciate our coaches and our officials and game workers, booster clubs, parents, etc. But we also appreciate the support that our board gives all our programming. Just want to make sure you guys know that we're trying to be as efficient as possible with it.
Can I
Thank
add one more?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you for the investment of looking at junior high baseball. It has made an enormous impact in our community. Tomorrow night, we have a doubleheader with Deer River. It's pulled our community together in a way that we haven't really had before. We have one golf meet here, and that doesn't really draw in a real big crowd. And we don't have a track. And so in the springtime, we don't really have activities where people are gathering as a community to watch a sport. And so we have, a bank of bleachers there and a food truck that comes. My husband, Chad, is announcing. It's really brought something that we have not had in a very long time in the spring here to Big Fork. And it seems small, a little junior high baseball team, but it's just been a blast. It's been so much fun. So I want to say thank you for that. And I also want to say thank you for listening. When we had 13 junior high, I reached out to Matt and Ken and just said, we need more help. We have 36 golfers, which is a record for us this year. Our coaches are just doing an incredible job. And so we were able to add a 1 year only junior high coach, and just purely for safety, we needed another body out there. But I just, like Dale said, we want to thank you for your investment and everything that you do for athletics up in Big Fork too.
Thanks, Heather. Heather, one thing just for anybody listening out there as well, and for our knowledge, what time is the doubleheader tomorrow?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, partnerships, and that is the superintendent evaluation process. I'm going to just walk through the process. You should have a sheet in your packet that kind of explains it. So today, at our May 11th session, we're about to review and discuss the superintendent's progress towards his 25-26 goals. We'll also review and discuss Pat's commentary on the essential accountabilities. And then after tonight's session, Julie will send us a link with a superintendent evaluation Google form. From there then, between now and Thursday night, we'd like everyone on the board to respond to that evaluation via the Google form. So that, again, that's between now and Thursday night. Is there any concern with anybody about being able to get that completed by Thursday night?
Before I say no. That's a form that's coming from Julie and will be returned.
Okay, you'll just go online, fill it out too. You're good, Tom? Okay. And then at the next regular school board meeting, which is a week from today, we will review the results of the evaluation in closed session at the end of the regular meeting. And then the next board meeting after that, which is on June 8th, will summarize the superintendent's evaluation aloud. Any questions about that process?
Makes sense.
All right, so then we'll turn it over to Matt to work through the superintendent goals 25 and 26.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is kind of a response to, I guess, change over time and things that the board's found helpful. And so heading into that survey or the questionnaire, the form that you'll fill out for my evaluation, the board has found it helpful to get some a viewpoint into what the work has looked like relative to my goals, and also the essential accountabilities that MSBA has identified. Otherwise, we've had board members in the past go, I didn't really know if this was happening, or wasn't aware of this going on. And so that's what the purpose of tonight is, just to sort of it's not a bragging board. It's just sort of to make sure that if you have questions about anything that you might run across, that you will hear about it tonight or get questions answered tonight. So that's the first thing I wanted to share. The second thing is, I'm not playing all the instruments in the band. When we talk about the goals here, I'm not the one, ensuring that I'm not the one doing the walkthrough in that classroom. I'm not the one I'm not the one playing all the instruments. So my job is to help establish a direction, set goals, hold people accountable, provide feedback, and that kind of thing, accountability, support, and that kind of thing. So nothing that I'm saying, I don't want it to be construed as this is about, all of the great things Matt's doing. It's not so. But the goals, if we start with the superintendent goals for 25-26, one of the things that I talked about a lot since coming here was reducing variability. And I think we've made great gains on that. And, but that's still one of the goals in that top equitable access, representation, and outcomes. That's being measured and accounted for through walkthroughs. So we've been making progress as an admin team in both the process of doing walkthroughs, how we're gathering those, and then how we're reporting them. This year on our strategy team, I developed a data sharing protocol. So, and I shared a link to one there you can look at later if you haven't already, but it was a way for principals to bring the data they have from walkthroughs to the strategy team to talk through that with the team, both from an accountability, yep, I did this, but really probably more importantly, here's what I'm seeing, and I'm curious, and any feedback. So walkthroughs, that'll be something that we continue to lean into, get better at. We're actually looking at a system. We've kind of outgrown Google Forms, and the new system that we're looking at will enable us to track when they happen, where they happen, and also create a dashboard of a complete dashboard. So as a superintendent, next year at this time, I can pull up a dashboard that would show how many have happened, where they've happened, that kind of thing. And that'll be useful for reporting also. We began culturally responsive leadership work. That was a goal. We had a number of trainings with Renee Busey from the Northeast Service Co-op. And we spent this year talking a lot about how it is that we've come to know the things we know, epistemology. How do we come to think the things we think? And when we grow up, how does that affect how we see the world? So how does Matt growing up in a little farm town in southern Minnesota affect how he sees education, among everything else? So that's been really good work so far, and we're going to continue to lean into that. Instructional strategies is something that we're continuing to work on. We landed on Anita Archer's work, explicit instruction, a couple of years ago. If if you read that book or saw the things she talks about in there, some of the things that you'd see, you'd probably recognize from when you were in school. She just has been really good about articulating those things. So they're baked into a lot of our literacy work or literacy curriculum. Secondary this year identified strategies through a survey and through working with their leadership team that has some training in place. Did some of that already this year. So again, my role in that is meeting with Darren, talking about that work with his team, ensuring that those follow-ups are happening. We held a number of principal trainings this year, increasing instructional leadership capacity of principals. I really do believe principals are the pivot point for a lot of what we do. If our principals are highly achieving, that'll turn into schools that are highly achieving. So we've done a lot of investing in them this year. I brought in Ann Mitchell from the Minnesota Department of Ed. She did a lot of work with them on to build confidence and competence with having tough conversations and building their instructional kind of lexicon. And so that's been good, and they valued that enough that she'll hopefully be back next year, and she comes from MDE without any cost. So it's good.
Guys, quick question. When you reach out to like the Department of Ed, do they do that kind of on their own, and it really just costs the district the time for our participants, or
Yeah, there's been a shift too, because there was a time where MDE did not get outside of 612. They did not travel. And Ann has been up here 3 or 4 times, including spending a whole day visiting principals in their buildings, so she could get a feel like what's really going on here. And she has a lot of credibility with them too, because she was a principal. And so, there's no cost to us, just our time. So we
just
scheduled some
our effort
Yep.
internally, whatever.
Yep. So they typically, one of the things about the principals, they don't like to be out of their buildings. It's hard for them to be out. So they predominantly happened from 3:45 to 5:45, or on workshop days when the students aren't here. So we just have those trainings.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, it's good. I'm glad stop me anytime. Circling back, it's really nice to have MDE doing that kind of work again. I think that's
Partnering rather than
Yeah.
ending.
Yeah, rather than just sort of like, hope it's going okay out there, so I've appreciated that. A lot to do still with literacy, and so I talk and meet with Carol quite a bit to continue to support that rollout. It was a big investment, making sure that happens. And not only is that affecting like our literacy instruction, but how that has gone is also creating a roadmap for how this math implementation is going to go. Some of the things we learned about what worked really, really well there, we're going to do again. Some things that we learned didn't really work that well, we're going to not do with the math rollout. So that's been one of the things that was not in place when I came here was a curricular review plan, both in terms of a schedule and a process. And I feel like we've got that dialed in more and more every year. That process document is linked here. And then I also linked the math curriculum selection timeline. Carol's been leading that work until the math person is on board. Again, sort of following some of that process step that we went through with language arts, although it's, I'd say, more complicated because with language arts, the state narrowed the list down to a handful of curriculums to look at, and our team had to start with really a whole table full and narrow it down. So that's going to happen. I think they're going to select a curriculum here in the next month. Partnerships and collaboration, again, getting back to some of the work we've been doing with principals. I did revamp their goal setting process again. And, this is probably the third refinement to that process with them, as we've grown together, moving from a real, I'd say, we're a traditional one, trying to add some more layers, update it with our operational plan language and our strategic goal language, and also where the state went with principal development and evaluation. So the principals, to their credit, last June, I kind of dropped on them that I had another update to the goal setting process I wanted them to consider, and I dropped on them a school action plan process that I wanted them to dig into, and it was a lot all at once. Not sure it was like really good implementation strategy on my part, but they recognized the importance of it. And once they had some time to sort of digest it, jumped on board. And so I'm really proud of the school action plan we have in place now. They've really engaged with it. We've been meeting with their teams using that model all year. I meet with that committee just about every Monday. Some Mondays I'm out or gone, and so we either reschedule or have one of the other principals facilitate. But those are more check-in, nuts and bolts type things. We usually invite our MTSS or tech age will come in there to give updates, work through that, and then in buildings during the year, meeting with principals, checking in on their goal setting, checking in on their action plan. Increasing opportunities for engagement with teachers. We have a number of committees that have been going on, but we've also added some additional opportunities. The extended leave, that group has a bunch of teachers on it, some admin, figuring out expectations for a teacher, for instance, what they need to have done before they go on leave, what they need to do while they're on leave, what they should expect when they come back. So I think that's going to be really, really helpful. Really good work from there. We had a group that people could get engaged in to take a look at doing conferences differently. So we're going to try some different things next year. That's been good. Those kind of came out of it. The directors, we did some tweaking to the work that they do. Monthly, we were meeting monthly, and I think we kind of ran out of steam. The meetings were kind of dry and stale. And so we did a little bit of a reset, did some feedback, what would be helpful. That group this year read Crucial Conversations, that book. And so it's probably in the last year, I'd say we're up to about 20 people that have read that book. It's really good. And you can see an example agenda there. So we've got meeting plan, questions, and so time in there where directors can lead out a topic. So last month, Polly shared a little mini lesson on something relevant to the group's interests to keep people engaged. Let's see some other examples of collaboration there, involvement. I have been, I was asked to chair the Executive Development Committee for the Superintendent's Association next year. And I was invited to be in, I think, 3 other SUPs statewide to be on this Kids Rise Steering Committee, which is going to be a really cool public school campaign just to raise, change the narrative about public schools. The next strategic direction there, the wellness survey, we completed that. That went to the Labor Management Committee today. So we start digging into that data, looking at what 1 or 2 changes we can make to improve what feels to work here. We got feedback from staff on conferences, feedback from staff on the process as well. Some other communication examples there, forward events.
Say you've got feedback on conferences. Is that just on conferences this year or just
No, so yeah, so we asked, we sent out a survey to staff and to families, asking questions like, what's working about conferences, what's not working about conferences, what do you find valuable? From the parent side, like, what do you want to talk about when you come? If there was a structure change, what would you be open to? What's a barrier to you coming? Do you come? And so we looked at that school by school, actually created, I pulled the data out for each building's staff and families. So I disaggregated for them, gave that to their building leadership team. I created a protocol for them to go through and say, what did you notice here? What are your families saying? What are your staff saying? They turned around and gave that back to our meet and confer committee. And then, we're gonna make some tweaks next year. So we're gonna try some things. Like we're gonna try semester 2 conferences, but we're gonna adjust the semester 1 conferences so we don't have to change the comp day schedule at all. But they'll be targeted. So all parents will be able to come, but we'll be inviting some specifically to need some. So we'll try that and see how that goes. There's been a interest in doing something different for a while. I wouldn't say this is like earth-shattering, but it's move forward and try some different things. The second semester thing has really puzzled people, I think, like, how come we don't do that? No, I think we have a plan to do it without it infringing on instructional time and keeping our contract squared away and calendar squared away. Let's see. Some presentations, published a newsletter 2 times again this year. Really good feedback on that. And then stewardship of resources. You're probably more aware of that kind of work than anything else. Working with our facilities planning committee on looking ahead to some things. Any question on any of that? I guess I made a couple notes at the bottom too, just some other things that maybe didn't fit into the goal categories, but mentioned that school action plan. I guess that was above legislative agenda, testifying. I mentioned the story develops field trip guidance, which is very, very sensitive for some folks.
Matt, as you look at your goals for 2020, 2025 and 2026, and you think about the future for 26, 27, I think it would be good as you talk through them when we set it up for 26, 27 to focus on your balance of what's achievable and what's aspirational. Thinking about, yes, the things that are in front of us and the kids that are in our district today, but then also the kids that things that think about Grand Rapids in 10 years. What does that look like? Because that's really important, not only for your legacy, but also for legacy. You know, we're doing things today that are helping our kids, but also setting up future generations of kids. The other, one more question I had is, I know you're not playing all the instruments in the band, but if you were to play one,
I think that the most important work that I've been doing is to lean into,
sorry, Matt, I'm gonna stop you. It was a joke about the band.
oh, saxophone.
Saxophone.
Yeah.
I was wondering to think any other.
Alto and baritone.
You sure?
I played a tuba for one concert.
You're ridiculous.
It went so serious right away. It's like, oh.
Yeah, sorry. That was kind of went right over that. Yeah. No.
Saxophone.
Well, I want to hear what you have to say though. What would be the?
It's building, I think the most important thing, if I were to leave tomorrow, I would want people to say that I had an impact on the principal's abilities to lead instruction here. because I think that's the pivot. And so there's a lot of systems that have to get in place in order for them to be able to do that well. They have to actually, they have to build their own skills and confidence there. And you also have to have the infrastructure that enables them to do that. You have to have curriculum that you can actually measure and that's high quality and guaranteed. And you have to have ways for them to get in there and see and do the work. And you got to create space for them to do it. So that if I don't do anything else here, from like a legacy standpoint, I hope that's one that our principals are really able to define and execute structural leadership.
Any other questions, comments?
On the essential accountabilities document, this document really flows with the survey you're going to see. So when you go in and take that survey, you're going to see essential accountabilities, administrative, and that's where your ranking is going to be. So this just sort of is like, hey, if you're struggling to come up with, does Matt do any of this? And again, it's not about justifying my position or any of that stuff. But if you're not aware of some of the things that I've done in some of these areas, this is just a way to kind of bring it to your mind. So the first one is obviously about a lot of planning, goal planning, those kinds of things. You just approved a new operational plan. So I think you just saw that. Instructional, I just talked quite a bit about that in my goal setting piece. And this sort of spells out some of that, both locally and then also stay connected to some other organizations and trying to keep my learning up. Financial, again, we talk about that probably more than just about anything else. I think the retiree shift that was completed in the last 12 months was a pretty huge deal, not only for our school district, organization, but also for our taxpayers. That was a huge thing to get done. Operational, I regularly meet with the directors in charge of these various areas, keep on top of day-to-day and keep those things moving along. And then a lot of day-to-day stakeholder communication meetings. Obviously try to empower directors and principals to do that work as much as possible. Sometimes situations come up that need my involvement. We developed in the research and development, we developed AI procedures last summer. I think that was a great collaboration. We'll have to continue to revise that. We implemented that online learning program.
Are we using it? One of the discussions in that, I thought that was a good workshop, was about kind of embracing it a little bit, right? And maybe looking at students to how to use it properly, right? In the right way. Do you see people embracing that a little more? Are teachers necessarily, because if I remember right, some of the things were, if you use it, make sure you're referencing it, saying how you use it. And are we seeing teachers necessarily embrace kind of having the students try to engage in it a little bit, or
I think that, so our model kind of goes through like red, don't you dare use it on this assignment or thing. Yellow is like, if you're going to use it, you can use it in limited. Green, like, it's okay if you do it. Blue is sort of like, I expect you to use it on this, right? And I remember when I first started talking to someone about their model, they had a similar thing, and they talked about how goal for this teacher for this year might be to go from all red to a couple yellows. Might be there. So I think we have probably that where we have some that are like
starting to recognize the scaling.
Yep. Scaling, trying to change a little bit as they get more comfortable. I still think, it's I mean, this, all of you do. It's just really kind of a unknown. I've seen more turn in this assignment written by hand this year. And that's happening in colleges too. They've gone back in some cases to the old blue book, where you have to do all your work in this blue book, and handwrite all your stuff in there. I think there's probably a time and place for that. There's a time and a place for, use all the resources available to you. So I think it's a little bit at a time. Let's see. Staff, public, and community relationships, a lot of those tie back to this. We rolled out a new website this year. Julie and Melanie were key in that. That had to get done due to the legacy software we were on. HR, obviously, you see the result of that when things come through the board. And things you don't see, the evaluation process on the backside of that, the goal setting, my direct reports, negotiation, obviously, network. I think one of the things in that evaluation piece, and I've had opening dialogue with our labor management committee, with our meet confer, is the need to dig into our teacher growth and development plan in the next 2 years. Ours is outdated. That needs to be updated. It's a lot of work. It's also an incredible opportunity, if you do a good job of it, to have deep discussions about what quality instruction looks like. So that is a great opportunity. So I'm looking forward to that. That will be a big, on top of, the other things that our last strategy meeting, we mapped out our PD plan for next year, or what's going to happen on those PD days. Focusing on grading and how our grading practices align with what kids actually know and can do. Grades actually accurately reflect that. So that'll be fun. And then also another focus for next year, in addition to training, half the high school staff and redact stuff, talking about student behavior, and just recognizing how students are acting out, they are communicating something when they do that, and what our role is, what our mindsets are as adults in that moment, how to be intentional in that moment rather than react. So that'll be really, really good. We have places right now in our district where student behavior is getting in the way of tier 1 instruction, ability for the teacher to do their job. So we have control. Yeah. So those are just some things, if you're in that survey and curious, you can refer back to. The last thing that's included was just your board aims for this year, and I won't walk through these, but you can kind of see the things that in there that we've been up to and been working on. I think you can see progress in these too. So hopefully that makes you all feel good too. Got this progress.
All right, any other comments on any of those documents for Matt?
Thank you for the review.
All right, is there any other business to come before the board tonight? All right, stand adjourned.
Dave, thank you. All in all, pretty complex job.
Few moving parts here.
Got to beat those in about
Yeah,
out things.
that's what I like about it. Could be talking to somebody about a
recording.